Horace Mann, considered by many as the father of the common school movement, was born in 1796 in Franklin, Massachusetts. During his childhood, Mann experienced many hardships as he lived in poverty. His own education was sporadic, only attending class for 6 weeks out of the year. His teachers were equally as impoverished and undereducated. However, this life did not satisfy Horace. He studied under his own command at the Franklin Public Library, the first public library in the United States. He went on to pursue a degree in law from Brown University, where he graduated valedictorian. Ideas of social justice were near to his heart, and he pursued a life in politics. He served in the House of Representatives from 1827 until 1833, and in the Senate in 1835. It wasn't until he accepted a paid position as a secretary of the newly founded Massachusetts Board of Education that he found his true passion, improving the public school system. Horace Mann firmly believed that the political stability and social harmony depended upon the education of our nation. He felt that free public schooling was central to good citizenship, democratic participation, and overall societal well-being. He saw the inequities of the failing school system in Massachusetts and proposed a new method for managing them. He believed in a free, universal education for all and thought that a standardized education experience would help to equalize society. This was in stark contrast to the schools of the 1830s, where schools were poorly funded and the teachers lacked training. These early schools were also only open to boys, excluding girls and African American children entirely. Mann fought for a longer time in school, increasing the age of exit to 16 years old, higher teacher pay, better teacher education, and a wider curriculum. He was also an advocate for the disuse of corporal punishment. To help understand where schools were failing, Horace Mann visited every school in Massachusetts and wrote annual reports on their progress, needs, and accomplishments. He felt that building a moral character was just as important as forming the basic foundations in reading, writing, and arithmetic. To further his insight into the idea of a common school, Mann made a trip to Europe, where he surveyed different methods in education. He was impressed by Prussia's system of education. Teachers had lesson plans they followed instead of reading from a book. The curriculum also covered broad subjects, including art, history, and science. Upon his return, Mann wished to incorporate these elements into American classrooms. To further his insight into the idea of a common school, Mann made a trip to Europe, where he surveyed different methods in education. He was impressed by Prussia's system of education. Teachers had lesson plans they followed instead of reading from a book. The curriculum also covered broad subjects, including art, history, and science. Upon his return, Mann wished to incorporate these elements into American classrooms. Equally important to Mann was that teachers should be highly educated and well-trained. In 1839, Massachusetts created the first normal school, or teacher training college. These institutions trained mostly women to become teachers. Horace Mann believed it was important for women to be trained in a skill and felt this would be one way for women to have a career. Mann also changed the way society viewed education by creating free, universal education for the masses. In the past, school had been funded by subscription or tuition, but now it was to be funded by tax money. The common school would be tax-funded, well-developed state public education for every child in the nation. Soon, the common school movement spread far beyond Massachusetts, and even now has left a lasting impression upon our thoughts and ideals regarding public education and teacher training. Horace Mann created 6 main principles of education, which state that the public should not remain ignorant, public education should be paid for, controlled, and sustained by an interested public, that this education will be best provided in schools that are inclusive of children from all backgrounds, that this education must be non-sectarian, this education must be taught by the spirit, methods, and discipline of a free society, and that education should be provided by well-trained professional teachers.